The false translations of Colossians chapter 1 verse 16. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones, or dominions, or principalities, or powers. All things were created by him and for him. Welcome back, as we take a look at more deceptions in the modern Bible translations. Yet again, most of Christianity are being deceived into believing Jesus is God, who created all things, as seen in a popular Trinitarian website called compellingtruth.org, which is a ministry of gotquestions.org. Notice what we read in their statement of faith. Section 2, God. We believe in one God, who is creator of all, Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4, Colossians chapter 1 verse 16, who has revealed himself in three distinct persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Now, if we click on the Trinitarian article, saying Colossians chapter 1 verse 16, we come to the translation they are using, which says in the ESV translation, "For by him, Jesus, all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him, and for him." As we have seen, the Trinitarians are using a false translation to prove Jesus is God and the creator of all things, by using the false translations, like the English Standard Version, saying, "For by him, Jesus, all things were created." The correct translation does not say, "For by him," but instead the correct translations say, in the Berean Study Bible and Greek translations, "For in him." We now move forward to the next great and terrible deception, where we see the false words added in the next sentence of Colossians chapter 1 verse 16, saying, "For by him all things were created." The word saying "were" deceives many into believing exactly what it says, that by him Jesus were all things created. So in other words, all things were, meaning, have been, already occurred, was, already taken place, or happened, and were created by Jesus. And this word, were, is clearly deceiving most of Christianity, who are deceived into believing Jesus is God the Creator, or Jesus was alive, with God, creating the universe. In fact, the Christians who believe Jesus is God always use this verse of Colossians chapter 1 verse 16 as one of their main verses to prove Jesus is God, or that Jesus pre-existed his flesh. But if we take a closer look and examine what the Greek word saying ektishtawa means, we instead make another shocking discovery. Notice in the Strong's Concordance what the Trinitarians actually say themselves, that the Greek word for ektishta, which they have translated as were created, instead means. Strong's Concordance. Katizo, to build, create. Definition: to build, create. Usage: I create, form, shape, make, all ways of God. Notice how we do not read in the Trinitarian definition, were created, or have been created, as something created in the past, that was already created before Jesus was born, as a man. But instead, we read in the Trinitarian definition, to build, create, form, shape, make. In other words, something that is being done, now, and in the future, not something that were, or was, done, already, which is a more true and accurate definition, rather than were. As we have seen, this is all according to what the Trinitarian translators say, regarding what the meaning of the Greek word for ektishta original word, katizo, which they have translated as were created, means. As seen by clicking on the 2936 here. So what did Paul truly say and mean in Colossians chapter 1 verse 16? 1. Paul did not say, "For by him all things were created." But instead, my research reveals, Paul was saying and meaning in Colossians chapter 1 verse 16. For in him, through Jesus, God is rebuilding, recreating, reforming, reshaping, remaking all things new in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things God is building, creating, forming, shaping, making through him, Jesus, and for him. Please see the full article on the link.